Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Here we are. Good morning.
Good morning. Good evening. Oh my goodness.
It'll be morning before we know it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just sat down at my desk for one of the first times today. It's a Monday. I'm already feeling behind. So
I feel you on that. I do. Oh, well.
It's okay. Yeah.
We'll get started with some highs and lows, Linda.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll go first.
Start us off.
So I think high for me, we're getting into some warmer weather. So we've actually been to the beach a few times in the last few days, not going in for a swim or a dip or anything yet because the water is still freezing, but it's at least warm enough to get your feet in, get up to your knees, that sort of thing, and have a whole heap of fun running along the sand and sandcastles and digging holes and collecting shells and seaweed and rocks and all the other fun stuff. So nice. I'm really looking forward to seeing more beach time this year than last year was just filled with busyness and sickness and work and writing books and all sorts of things. So, yep, much more beach time sounds beautiful to me to reset. So that's definitely a high. I think a low for me, we've just had a vomiting bug now. So just got hit with that at dinner time tonight, which hopefully will pass really quick, but it's no fun.
So. I think luckily at least those seem to be like a 24-hour thing and never like a long drawn out thing.
Yeah. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Let's see how we go. What about you? Highs and lows?
Highs and lows. Let's see. My high is going to be that we had a friend over and my parents and my sister yesterday for brunch. We went apple picking last month and brought home some bourbon maple syrup. And we got to try this with some brunch. So let's get together. So it took us a while to finally find a day that we could have brunch at home. So we finally got the chance to enjoy some new cocktails and maple syrup with some breakfast and fun times with family and conversation with friends. So very good day yesterday and enjoying that company. But just so happened to be the night before I blew out my tire and now I have to deal with all this stuff about getting a new tire and the whole ordeal of changing the tire. It was just like the low of the weekend. And I am not one to run over curbs and do it frequently. So it was very embarrassing because just it doesn't happen, Everyone's like, how did this happen? I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't looking in the right way. I'm sorry. I just was not looking where I was going. And I ran a curb and it popped. I don't know. So very roller coastery a few hours on Saturday night with a lot of fun on Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
Very trivial things, but
yes and no. It's just they throw a curveball.
They do, and this I think brings us into our discussion today. I don't think it would have been as big a deal if it wasn't on the back end of coming off of the Fierce Entrepreneur Summit.
Yeah,
and I'm sure with the sickness going on around in your house, even for you dealing with caring for everyone and cleaning up child vomit more than one time can make us, get to our wits end, and it's all surrounding that Melty a little bit of, we had really great conversations with other entrepreneurs live streamed, and putting ourselves in that vulnerable spot talking about our businesses made for the next day for us to be quite Melty. And I know our time zone differences, like you had the rest of your day to feel like that on Saturday. You were Saturday morning and I was Friday night, so I got a little bit of rest, but it lingers, and Melty can show its true colors in different forms and at different time periods. So
absolutely. Yeah, I felt it creeping in, that's for sure. And I think part of what we want to talk about, I guess, is the explanation of what we mean when we say Melty, because sometimes people don't always understand or recognize. We have the term, essentially, it's a princess term, isn't it? It's a
my lovely friend Kim has had us all adopt this term Melty from her from her what we call princess speak, or kindergarten princess vocabulary words. Yep.
And so how do you think we should best describe that Melty?
Let's see. I feel like this is our segment of princess speak on Good Morning Entrepreneurs right now.
Like we're also being tested for how well we've listened.
We do you proud, Kim. For me, Melty is the heightened emotion state after doing something big for us individually, whether it's seen as something big or on outside eyes, it's something big for us where we're experiencing multiple different emotions all at the same time, or within a wave of emotions within us right after something significant.
Yep. I think that sums it up really well. For me, it's often something which can, it can take you by surprise, because it is that heightened wave. You can not only experience it after a big event, but after a shift, I think, in your energy or emotion or that sort of thing. I think a lot of people might think of it more of when something bad's happened and then you have a bit of a meltdown. Yeah. But this is not just the bad, it's also often the good times or the big times that we find are then followed by a fight, perhaps a disagreement or a conflict or an argument with your partner or your child or yourself, or or maybe you overspend or oversplurge on Amazon, or like
the way that we respond to our emotions is what catches us in that moment to realize, oh wait, let's have a second thought about this, because my emotions are leading my actions at this point. And that's, I guess, where that Melty can be recognized. And then we talk quite a bit about guarding our Melty, and just so that's being aware of what we're talking about. It's like, what am I about to go do again? Like, is this fueled by my emotions that I'm feeling after this specific thing or not? And making sure that we take the rest, or we put in some self-care into our, the few hours after something has happened like that.
Absolutely. So, not trying to go to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like,
so leaving that, like, take a nap first and let your emotions kind of like figure out where they're going.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go for a walk. It's really, really big.
So I'm
going to need to.
You go ahead. I'm going to talk a little bit more about I got mine here with me. While Linda goes and navigates bedtime, we'll talk a little bit more about Melty here, but I think for sure my Melty, I know, but I can't have you here. Oh, I know. Can you tell me about Melty, Declan? I can't have you here. No. Okay. So I find, so like Linda was saying, it can come after some big event. It can come after a shift in us when there's stuff going on. So over this summer, I had my dad diagnosed with cancer, and that brought a lot of Melty. Then there was also the celebration of books, and both Linda and I have published books where we've had to really guard our Melty after the fact, because Linda put out 3 books in such a short amount of time that, you know, sometimes we can piggyback our Melty and never process it. And then all of a sudden we have this waterfall of events and things that are happening, and then we got to really watch how we're doing. So putting into self-care practices into play around our Melty times. So like this weekend, we had our summit, and then I want to get Linda's way of that. She had some self-care this weekend to guard her Melty, but mine was, I got Saturday morning after some sleep off to myself, and I was able to go out and do a little bit. I mean, I did some shopping, but it wasn't like, it was controlled shopping, not a shopping spree. So I had a purpose and I had a plan, and I only had so many dollars to spend. So it wasn't
that's very wise. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think all of our children are currently having their own Melty moments as well.
Mine has to be on camera with us now. So
I have 2 in bed who just don't want to face the sleep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Linda,
one's trying to sing at the moment, and the other one just no, it's not good singing. It's annoying singing.
Oh, I was just talking about how I set aside the time for me for a little bit of self-care shopping. And just to be away, not have Declan. I could have done all this shopping with Declan with me, but it's just like my self-care to not go with it. But were you able to get any self-care in this weekend with all that you had going on between the summit?
Yeah, the beach. The beach was a big one. Yeah. And my Sunday morning was really slow. So I potted around. I decluttered a little bit as well. So decluttering for me is a good way just to sort my thoughts a bit without any pressure at the same time of it having to be done a certain way or a certain time or anything else like that. So that was part of how I spent the time that I was probably susceptible to the Melty, the time where I wouldn't normally do that on a Sunday morning, like I wouldn't normally declutter on a Sunday morning, but I just had a slow morning and took it fairly easy. And we had a birthday party on Sunday, so it was a great spot for sleep, for just getting outside in the sunshine. Went to the beach and all the rest of it. So definitely made sure I took that time.
I'm glad you got to do a little bit of that decluttering.
Yeah, it was just a pile of papers that I'd been looking at for ages and ages, and it just big bag full, gone. So that was part of my own self-care, if you like, in a small little way.
How do you think, so like, you and I know that doing some self-care things helps us get past our Melty and to just guard ourselves and let it do its thing. Do you think it's just that our emotions need to equalize themselves out and get back to a state of not heightened, and just, doing a little bit of self-care can help us get there because we're replenishing our energy. Or is it like, do we actually need to do any kind of self-care in order to help us get back to that spot of not so melty? If that's a good question.
Both. Both. I think it's taken me time to, and I still am mucking this up, don't worry. It's taken me time to gauge where I'm at with a lot of this. So there are melty times where I become very reactive, or I just find myself snapping a lot easier at the kids, or just if there's too much noise or too much parenting of everyone needing me at once type of thing. So in those moments, I think those are the times where I need to expel, like go for a run or a walk or to the gym, or like trying to actually rest or nap or take a bath or something at that time doesn't actually serve as much of a purpose as it does to first calm down, basically. So melty for me is, sometimes I can't get my words out, like right now when I'm tired. I know that I do need some sleep. I know that I do need to replenish. I know that I do need to just take it easy right now and not try and charge through, not try and think that I can do as much as I want to when I'm tired. But if I'm reactive and angry and frustrated and annoyed, I do actually need to move at least.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to meditate on a cushion. That would be.
So that's when those walks.
Worst.
Yeah. You stew in your thoughts then.
Just relax. No.
I think the biggest thing that I learned was to not have any conversations right after I figured out that I'm going to be melty, because it always ends up being that that's when I get into fights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just like, all right, event's over. It's time to sit on the couch, watch a show, decompress, and go right to bed. Like that is it. Mm-hmm. We're not talking. We're not doing anything. It's maybe eat a pint of ice cream and done. But
much better.
That was like, that's become my self-care for after, especially after like a summit or some big accomplishment that we do, even if it's like a mastermind class where we had just a lot of brainstorming happen and we could just be so depleted of our bandwidth from that kind of a night. It's what is the least amount of things that I can put energy towards and just sit and kind of like level down a little bit.
Yeah. And it is full on sometimes when we are from one thing to the next. Like for me, so often mastermind is in the middle of my work day. So it's literally finish one and then straight on to the other. There's no white gap in between. So it's not always possible for us to
have that
to fit in. No, especially when it comes to parenting as well. Like we're wiping one bum while the other one's spewing up vomit, while the other one's wrestling the other one to the floor. And this,
I have a lot of gratefulness to the fact that a lot of the events and things that we do for me are at my nighttime, and I can go right after this to a quiet house because someone else has put my son to sleep. For you, it's the complete opposite. You're going right back into work or being a mom again. Like there's no real big off ramp and on ramp into the next thing for you.
No. Yeah.
Speaking of it's I gotta go get one. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Okay. And it's, something like an event which is hours long. So I'm away from my kids for 5 hours. That's quite a length of time. Like that's a decent chunk as well. So there's lots to consider when we're talking about Melty. Melty as well. There's lots to consider.
So much. And right now I'm considering, what does Melty look like for our children? Because I don't
tantrums, meltdowns, clinginess, neediness, eating a lot, nightmares.
Daymares. I don't know what to call them, but
not going to sleep, anxiety. There's all sorts of masks that it comes under, I think.
Yeah. So what kind of self-care are you doing tomorrow morning after you've slept? Or is your self-care going to bed right after we hit end on this recording?
No, I still have stuff to do tonight, actually.
Okay. So we got to get something on your calendar for tomorrow.
We do. Yep. I think there will need to be a gym session in there somewhere. So
I hope you get one, because I feel you. And I need to make sure we do a little bit of self-care today myself. So
it looks like it.
We have some white space in the calendar. I'm sure we'll fit something in.
Yep. So if you are listening to this and Melty yourself like me right now in my tiredness, we would love to hear from you, and really appreciate every time that you reach out to either of us. We have all the details in the show notes below, and we will be back next week for another episode.
Yeah. Well, if you're feeling Melty, our favorite way to guard it, take a nap.
Indeed.
Well, until next time then, Linda.
We hope you can unstuck your muck.
Bye.
Bye.